Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Director's Garage Live. I am your host and resident idiot, Michael. And well, today, folks, wow, I got a lot of color going on. Speed Racer shirt. I was out doing the car. I was washing the car just prior to coming on the air, so I was rushing out. I got the Susvaras out today. That should be a clue into our next episode, because we're going to be doing some Susvara listening. It's a really good episode, and it's a mystery box from Audio 46, and let's just say they hooked us up in a major way. I'm very excited. You'll also see back here a whole bunch of boxes. I got a lot to get through, so the products are stacking up. We just need to, you know, make it happen. But yeah, I've got the Susvara, which is interesting because the pre that I'm driving these with off of my switcher is so underpowered, it's barely making a level. So I kind of like that. Maybe that's what I should do all the time, because I hate the sound of my own voice. Cheers, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Friday happy hour hangout here. Yeah, sorry I'm a little misty, a little moist today. No comments, guys, please. Yeah, it was, but I was out, you know, running around the car, getting it all dried off, trying to get it done before this live stream. Today we're going to do some album reviews. I'm going to talk about a couple of albums, one song and a couple of albums. We're going to talk about the new Beatles track. I have some thoughts on that. And then I also did some deep listening on Dark Side of the Moon Rogers version. And so I've got some thoughts on that. I'll get into that in just a few seconds. New episode has been shot. I have laid it out. It is crazy bonkers. It's also sitting too long, so I've got to see if I can pull some time out of it somewhere. But it's off the charts. It's off the charts, and it involves that in a major way. Major player in the next episode in the best possible way. So there's that. Did some Rune listening over the week. Been really getting back into some music and listening at night, trying to get at least an hour or two in before I go to bed. Spend some time with this amazing gear I've got here and these amazing headphones. And I've been falling back into it a little bit more, which is kind of fun. And I had to take breaks. I can't do it constantly. You know, I have periods of time where I'm like, I just got to get the show out. I don't have a lot of time for, you know, pleasurable listening and checking out new music and things like that. This week, I've had a lot of time to actually listen and use my use all this amazing gear back here. I haven't fired up the reel-to-reel in a while. I'm getting anxious on that. I got to get that going. New product alert. Chord Electronics. I'm going to call it up for us. .co.uk. And all those UK addresses, they always confuse me. Yes. I don't know if this is what I was looking to do. Yes, it is. Okay. So there's a new product to go with the TT line. And I'm trying to find it. Hang on here. Maybe it's not up on their website yet. It's so new. It was just announced like a day or two ago. Pardon my cough. Yeah, it's not even up yet. Actually, there is a pair of new products here. I'll show you one of them. Hang on 2 seconds. We'll go to this. We'll go to the laptop of death. MacBook Pro. Okay, so one of them is this Ultima integrated. Pardon me, I got a cough. It's been really dry in LA. We had Santa Ana winds this week. So the air gets really dry and dusty, and if it gets in your throat, you're done. So this is not the exact thing that I'm referring to. What I'm referring to, this is an integrated amp. I just saw this up on their website. It's the only reason I clicked on it. What's new, though, let me go to my notes because I spelled it out. Oh, here it is. All right, let's type this in and see what happens. Chord. Here it is. Okay, this is the new product. It's called the Bertie. And this is supposed to be an amp that integrates with their current TT stack. It's made to the same specs as the TT stack. And this is supposed to be plenty of power to drive a Susvara or anything else. And let's look at the specs real quick. Yeah, it's 75 watts into 8 ohms. This thing is it's a speaker. You can drive speakers with it, but I think you could also drive your headphones with the right adapter if you hooked it up. But what's interesting to me is that I don't see the Toby on here anymore, the Toby TT. And I'm wondering if the Toby TT maybe didn't do so well, and so they have cut it from the product line. That's where my head is at. So I don't know what you think, but it's very interesting to me that there's the Toby is nowhere to be found now. I can't find it. Maybe one of you guys can. And they've now got this Bertie in its place, it looks like to me. Very interesting, though. So that's my new product alert. Chord on the move, and that's good to see. I'm anxious to see when the TT3 will come out, because they're about due. Same with the regular Hugo, the Hugo. They have a Hugo 2. I'm waiting for the Hugo 3. How's the color? Is this thing look? I don't have my phone. I don't know what I did. Oh, I left my phone in the garage. That's not going to be helpful. I hope nobody's trying to call me. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll see what happens. I've totally spaced on that. My phone is in the garage. Okay. So piece, when does it air? 11/9. Sorry, answering a question for work here. Any you like? They're asking me what kind of color I want on a Chiron. So, leaving show Thursday night. Okay. Things coming up late next Thursday, which is kind of interesting. I'm also prepping. This is I share everything with you guys. I'm also prepping for a colonoscopy on Monday. Get the big scope up the butt. That's not going to be terribly fun. But yeah, that's coming. So I'm going to have a brutal weekend. I'm going to get some listening in for sure this weekend, because I'm going to be drinking this goop that goes through. That goes right through you and cleans you out so that they can do the procedure, as it were. So not looking forward to that. But at least I'll have some good headphone listening, and I can cut the next episode. Next episode will drop next week. Like I said, it's a killer. It's a gangbuster. I was super psyched when I saw that and when I saw it. Okay, so I'm going to go through. I'm going to do Roger Waters first. And I'm going to talk about the Roger Waters version of Dark Side of the Moon. And so that album was an album that was recommended to me on a live stream to check out, right? And obviously, you know, Dark Side is one of the greatest albums in rock history. So my expectations going into the Roger Waters Dark Side, well, I thought that he would probably like refresh the original with some interpretive twists without losing maybe the impact of the total collection. Now, I hadn't read anything about what Waters' plan was for it. I've subsequently gone back and seen interviews where he clued in exactly what he was going to do, and I just flat out hadn't seen it. So I was going in absolutely cold listening to this record. Now, most of the original songs were fronted by their guitarist, David Gilmour. And I got to think that now this poses a complicated challenge for this thin-voiced bassist, and it's kind of a tall order for this guy to undertake. So I'm like, where is he going to go with this? And it turns out Roger Waters took this album to an extreme and sort of washed it in morbidity and fatalism. And what emerged for me was, at least out of this darkness, was a series of stories about a guy nearing the end of his life. And I couldn't help but think that this is somewhat maybe autobiographical. He's getting up there. He's in his 70s too now. But the creator in me would like to believe that Waters had this inspiration to reinterpret the lunatic fringe message of the original, and then exchange out the edgy musical angles and the passionate Gilmour vocals for more intimate stories. And I think that that's what he kind of went for, in at least creatively. But the cynic in me was also thinking, as I was listening to this album, that he probably couldn't match the boldness of the original. In fact, there's no hope for him to match the boldness of that original. That original is an icon, and it made me wonder why he would even mess with it to begin with, because the only thing that you're going to do is piss off people who love the record, all for your interpretive take. Like, maybe you could do that with a different Floyd album. That one is kind of a holy grail record. It's crazy to take it on, but he did. And I thought maybe what he did was he started down this path and realized that he can't sing like Gilmour, he can't play like Gilmour, and he can't sound like a band that no longer exists. So he kind of toned down and stripped the original of its power and kind of replaced it with a cross between Jim Morrison poetry and Frank Zappa vocals behind this minimalist score, loosely following the chord changes, and I say that literally, of the original songs, and then inserting these deep grunts of animals and some of the helicopters and planes from The Wall buried deep in the mix to kind of nudge you along, hey, this was a Floyd record at some point. So is it that creative take, or is it this cynical take? And I think the answer is probably it's a combination of the two. Roger pastes poetry and storytelling over much of the record. Musically, it's interesting enough to me, though it's a bit sleepy in places because it's really slow. I didn't time the record, but it's got to be a good 10 minutes longer than the original. He slowed these numbers down a great deal. But stripping Dark Side of its lunacy and darkness, or stripping Dark Side of its lunacy and replacing it with this darkness of impending death, I don't think that helped this project at all. I think he would have been better served working this morbid tale into a different form, a different album, a solo project, than kind of peeing all over this classic that he himself has been stripped from because of his loss, getting kicked out of the band those years ago. And I'm wondering also if there's not a little bit of revenge somewhere deep. I don't know Waters. He has always been an acerbic personality to be nice, and I think he's mellowed in his older years. I think he's calmed down since, maybe going into the 2000s when they did the reunion in 2005 at Live 8. I think things calmed down for him. But much of this album is unapologetically spoken, say it in English, including the singing. When Us and Them evolves into one of the album's snappiest numbers, something has gone a little bit askew here. That's my take. The narrative of this album falls apart as the album hits its conclusion, because suddenly the dead and dying are embracing insanity for no explained reason. There was a turn that he had to do here to get from this darker collection up to that point, and then suddenly he has to turn it into the lunacy of Brain Damage. The original sort of said we have to embrace the lunacy of life, and then it wraps it up with Brain Damage, you know, Eclipse and then Brain Damage. Interestingly enough, Brain Damage and Eclipse are the only two songs that Roger voiced on the original album, and he takes the opportunity to actually sing these numbers on this version, which feels completely out of place for me. I'm thinking, you know, if you're gonna voice all the stuff that Gilmour tracked in the original, suddenly to break out into song in the last fatal minutes of this experiment seems a little unusual and out of place. It definitely is jarring. But he fails to turn the story from this darker English countryside guy dying in a room to suddenly this lunacy of the last song and singing about lunacy. It just doesn't work. The story just flies completely out of orbit. It doesn't work. The greatest compliment, though, I can give this album is that it is a polished record. But it's one that I think strips the original of its importance of grandeur. To me, Dark Side is an album about the human condition. It points out the futility of going about one's day. We chase our passions, whether they're family life or religion or work or money. And it points to the lunacy of it all, yet all of these parts make up who we are as a race, as a human race. And that's the genius of Dark Side. It's why Dark Side is such a complete record. Waters' version kind of looks back to the end of that condition, the final years, almost in a bubble. And this version, it's an interesting listen, but it's nothing that I'm thinking about spending money on. So that's my review of Roger Waters' version of Dark Side. It was interesting and it was good. I pulled out the Abyss to listen to it, and it was really it was interesting to hear, but it was so breathy and quiet and stuff. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to make of it, and I sort of rattled down some thoughts on it, and those were my thoughts. I'm going to do the Beatles record, which I have a spicy take on that one too. In just a minute, because I couldn't have been more excited about a record, and to say it fell short of my expectations would be kind. So I'm going to go over that in just a few minutes. Let's do some chat, and then we'll go into the next album review. I'm just trying to think of something different to do on a Friday, so I thought I'd give you guys a couple of thoughts on new records that came out that are important. Kevin Jock, I'm going to get to now and then momentarily. I'm going to do a whole thing on that just in a few minutes. Level 42 man, greetings from Bermondsey, near Butler's Wharf, which, as you know, I told you last week, that's a place I like to shoot. Greetings, haven't made a live in quite some time. Arthur Haywood, thank you. Welcome, cheers, brother. Hipster Cow, howdy, brother. Ace of Spades, howdy, how you doing? Pause and get your phone in case Mrs. Director needs you. How to Stay Married, episode 2. Cheers, everyone. Ryan Dietz. Cheers, Ryan. Hipster Cow, the colors are looking super vibrant today. Maybe I've overdone it on the color. I can tone that down. I have the ability. I really do. Let's see. Watch this. We'll just take it down. We'll just take it down a little bit. How's that going? Is that better? Are we too I hate being overmodulated. I hate being too much, but I've changed a few things around here, so I'm always wondering if I'm spicy, how it comes out when it gets past the YouTube stuff. Anyway, so I just tweaked it a little bit. Tell me if that's any better. And I've got the Speed Racer shirt on, which is, you know, I mean, come on, man, Mach 5. Who didn't want to own that when they were a kid? Your doctor will be seeing the dark side of your moon on Sunday. As a matter of fact, it's all dark. This guy's cruising for a bruising. I love those lines, those little interview lines. What they did, I don't know if you guys know this, but what they did was they were looking for some interesting little vocal tidbits to put in. So they sat down all of their roadies and technicians, and they interviewed them in the studio, and some of the guys, then they clipped the funny bits out of what they recorded in their interviews, and then they pasted them into the album. One of the people they interviewed, interestingly enough, was Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney sat in and did an interview for the Dark Side vocals sessions. They did not use him, though. They left him on the cutting room floor. But it makes me wonder if he wasn't funny enough, or if he thought that it would be the band thought it would be a distraction from the music if Paul McCartney suddenly pops up. I don't know, but that was one of the interesting little factoids about that record. I'm a huge, as you know, I love music, and I research all this stuff constantly. I'm just a fan of it. It's something I like to know about. It's a little passion project. Look at that. I achieved my exercise goal today, and I haven't even walked yet. That's a good sign, fellas. I'm out working. I'm gonna kick this in. Kevin Jock, happy Friday, fellas. Ultra Cop, winner of the Dioko back here. Ultra Cop, I gotta get this to, I can only ship it through DHL. Ultra Cop is in Serbia. And I've got to figure out if this is even worth our while to do it this way. If it doesn't make more sense for me to just pay you the value of the headphone and do it out, because it's $100 headphone, and if I'm reading it right, I need to go directly to DHL though and check it out. It may cost me $350 to ship this to you. And that makes no sense for a $100 headphone. It makes more sense for me to just give you $100, and I'll give these away to someone else. But I'm going to take it to DHL and find out, because they do have these prepaid shipping bags that may be cheaper. And in that case, I will send these to you. It's just a matter of what makes the most economic sense. If I'm paying 3 times the cost of the headphone to ship it to you, something's askew. We got to do something else. I even thought about, well, could I order it from Amazon Europe and have it shipped to you or something? But we'll get to that. I just got to get to DHL physically in person. It's on the other side of the valley. I got to have some time to get out there. It might happen tomorrow. JTB, you won the Noble Focus Pro. If you just watched the last episode, you would find out that you won the Noble Focus Pro. Everybody should watch that episode, because it's a Director's Garage episode. I need views. So shameless. But JTB, you get this, but you have to email me at directorsgarage@gmail.com and send me your info, and make sure if you write your name in it that you tell me your handle so I don't get confused with something else. But yeah, you've got to send me your info at that. Ultra Cop, we'll figure something out though. I just want to find out if there's a cheaper way for me to send it in a prepaid box, in which case I have no problem putting this in. But if it's more than 3 times the cost of the headphone to ship it to you, I will make good on it just by giving you the cash value of the headphone, which is $99 US. And I'm happy to do that. I just want to do what makes sense, and not do something stupid. I do stupid things all the time on this show. We'll work it out, though. I will make it right with you, and you're getting something out of this because you won, and I'm thrilled that you won. I just wish I could ship these to you easily, and you know, if it was $100, I'd be like, fine, no problem. We'll do it because I promised I would. But at 300, I'm like, holy cow! You know, that's really out there. That's really up there. So. There you go. So JTB, yes, you get the Noble Focus Pro, my wireless, true wireless, amazing IEMs from Noble. These sound terrific, and they have great features, and they're frankly the best looking wireless IEMs I've ever seen. So that's pretty. That and the Mystique are just fantastic. So yes, JTB, you won. You got to email me, dude. And nobody else has emailed me other than UltraCop. So we'll deal with that, all of it. Okay. Well, we've got a break in the chat while I wait for more things to come in. And comment. Give me your thoughts on these records too. I want to hear your ideas. What were your feelings about the Roger Waters album? And now I'm going to talk about the Beatles, and I'm going to talk about Now and Then, which was just dropped yesterday. If you guys haven't heard it, it's a new Beatles song. So, and what I could say is, oh, how I really wanted to love this song. The stage it was set. You had Peter Jackson. He rescues the third song on the cassette tape that Yoko Ono gave the band in the 90s, the remaining three. The song that Jeff Lynne couldn't produce because the piano bled too strongly over John's vocals. That's the official line. I think the other side of that is they probably could have done it, but Anthology 3 was the album that it was supposed to go on, and I think they ran out of time. I think they was going to take so much work to get this record done. Either way, it was shelved for 30 years. Two problems kind of emerge going into this song. One, it's not a Beatles song, it's a Lennon song. And second, it's a song worthy of a deep track on Milk and Honey. In fact, if Yoko had given the Fab Three any of those leftover tracks from the Double Fantasy sessions that became Milk and Honey, they would have had a stronger starting point for this song. What emerges, though, is a very strong John vocal, thanks to that AI tech that Peter Jackson employs to rescue this lost song, this last song, they're calling it. And it makes me hopeful that Giles Martin will go back and remaster both Real Love and Free as a Bird, because the tech back in the mid-90s was god-awful for vocal separation. And John's vocals on those tracks, if you listen to them, have that trademark phasing issue that comes along with noise reduction plugins that were introduced back then. If Giles used the Peter Jackson tech, that process on those two tracks, I think they would fit even better into the Beatles catalog. To be fair, both Real Love and Free as a Bird share the same provenance as Now and Then. They come from that same cassette tape. And if you don't know, Now and Then was started back in 1994 along with the two release tracks, and it was abandoned, you know. And just as Free as a Bird and Real Love were included on Anthologies 1 and 2, this was intended, as I said, it was intended for that third anthology record. It never quite made it. Now, what's missing from Now and Then is what Paul, Ringo, George, and Jeff Lynne did with those other two songs. And that is, they added bridges to those songs. They added a refrain to Free as a Bird. Now and Then is missing a bridge. It goes straight A, chorus, B, chorus, A construction. There's no bridge in there to split it apart, and that makes it more like an early Beatles song in structure than a later Beatles song. By then, they had unusual bridges that would go into every song. Like by then, it was just they were at their peak writing. And John, this is a sketch. This song was an outline that he put down on a cassette. And when they did "Free as a Bird" and when they did "Real Love," they went into the studio saying that, oh, John left, with the attitude of John left us this outline for a song, it's up to us to complete it. And this song sounds like they went in with, John wrote a song, let's finish producing it and add some Beatles kind of stuff to it. And that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me at all. And, you know, if you remember, "Free as a Bird" has that, you know, like the whole song fades out and then it comes up and it's doing that backward masking little interlude, sort of like at the end of "Strawberry Fields," that refrain at the end of the song. And then at the end of it, it's John and Paul playing, you know, a little skiffle thing as the thing's going out. An element like that would have helped this track tremendously, because doing something like that locks it into the Beatles sound. And this does not sound like the Beatles to me. The production is there. It's actually quite good. Paul's vocal is really wavering on the chorus. It's why they didn't do the same to Paul's existing vocal that they did to John's voice is beyond me, because they could have helped Paul's quiver in his voice that he's got so badly right now and straightened it out using the same exact AI technology. Why wouldn't they do that for Paul? Because it really screws up the chorus. It doesn't sound right. It sounds like a mistake more than anything. And I think they were trying to do it as an effect. It doesn't work for me. But there is another huge element. There is a huge elephant in the room here on this song. If you watch that 12-minute documentary about the song, Paul says that George had recorded a guitar solo in those 94 sessions when they attempted this the first time. But if you listen to Paul's words, George's guitar part was re-recorded for this song in the style of George. And that leads me to believe that there's no actual George playing on this record at all, on this song. It's just Paul, or maybe they got another guitarist to do it to sort of sound like George. That's a huge problem for me if you're going to call this a Beatles track. And you've got 1/4. That's not to say that they didn't do songs along the way in their career where 1/4 or 2, you know, John and Paul went into the studio and did the entirety of Ballad of John and Yoko themselves, the two of them. That was just, and they played all the instruments, just the two of them. So that happened, but with 2 of the members of the band deceased, I think you need to have all 4 band members representative if you're going to call this a Beatles track. That's my opinion. The press release claims that all 4 play on the song. And based on Paul's interview, the press release or Paul's interview is wrong. And if you listen to the solo on this record, to my ears, it doesn't sound at all like George playing guitar. It's too slow. George moved around more on the fretboard, and this was really a problem for me. It didn't sound like George. It sounded like somebody playing slide, and it wasn't George to me, anyway. And with Paul saying that it's not George, I have no reason to doubt that George is not on the record at all. They just took that original, and they probably were, you know, who knows why they didn't revamp or revise that or revive that 94 solo. It could have been in a different key. I mean, you can do all sorts of stuff with music, though. I don't understand why they wouldn't save it and fit it in. The thing was recorded, why not use it? Unless it just didn't fit where they needed to take the song. I don't know, but at any rate, George isn't on the record, and if George isn't on the record, to me it's not a Beatles track. That's my opinion. Now, I'm glad that this song is out there for consumption. But, you know, being completely honest, no, it doesn't sound like a Beatles track to me. It sounds like they're scraping the bottom of the barrel. This was a song that was left in a bin, and the tech came up to do something with it. But it makes me wonder, if they're going to do this with something, why not go back to those Get Back sessions and those Abbey Road sessions? Not the Abbey Road sessions, but the Let It Be sessions. There was a lot of music and a lot of outtakes that were left on the floor. They cut out. Most of them made the long, you know, documentary, the Let It Be documentary, the 3-parter that was on Disney. But there's a lot of stuff that was like parts of a song that never finished. Well, why not take one of those songs that you have good vocals on? It was a good song. It just didn't whatever materialize. I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. Go back and use some of that material rather than this sort of half thought out song that you didn't really take the time to complete, in my mind, as far as from the writing aspect. They made it into a track. It's complete, but it's not a Beatles track to me. It doesn't sound like a Beatles track to me. It sounds like a deep track from a John Lennon album. So that's my spicy take, or a take. I don't know if it's spicy or not. You guys decide that. But that's my take on the Beatles song. I was really disappointed in that. I thought that for sure we were going to get treated to something spectacular, and it's a slow track. Some people are saying, well, it's an emotional track, and it's, you know, it kind of fits for the last Beatles track. And I'm like, no, the Beatles were more than that. Listen to, you know, the end, and in the end, the love you make is equal to the love you take. That's the spirit of that's where the band ends. You know what I mean? And I thought that the experiment of '94 worked in its own way, but the vocals, you know, they were not in great shape. And incidentally, on the B side of this single is the first single they're going to release from the Red collection. You know, the compilation records, 63 through 65, and then 66 through 69, the red and the blue packs. Those were records that were released that included all of the Beatles singles that didn't make a record, didn't make the albums. The single versions of their songs, because some of them had different arrangements. So they released those at the end of the Beatles run after they had broken up to sort of suck in, and it's what became Past Masters when they remastered the Beatles collection in the late 2000s. Those red and blue albums became the Past Masters 1 and 2 from the remastering jobs. They didn't. And then they remastered them anyway, I think, down the road. You know, they'll put out something every year to try and make some money on the Beatles collection. There's no mystery in that, fellas. Cheers. Go back to the chat in a second, but if you listen to the remastering of Love Me Do, that's on the B side, they were able to, using this tech, because it was recorded in mono, I think, and then it was remixed for stereo in post, meaning they would run a filter that would filter off certain frequencies to one channel and other frequencies to another channel, and they would get a stereo mix out of that. If they didn't do pure 4-track recording in those early days, the mono was the master. But Giles went back and he used this AI to separate out the vocals so he could do a true stereo mix, and it doesn't sound right to me. It sounds sparse and far less exciting than the original material. So I don't know if this is a sign of things to come for the first couple of albums that are coming our way soon, because they're going to start going through. It's 23. They're going to start going through and doing the 60th of all of these early Beatles records and start releasing them. They're going to start, I think they're going to do the whole run of records. And we're going to get the remastered all the way up until Revolver, which was the last, remix that we got. And if this is a sign of what's to come, I'm really not interested in these early records. I don't think it's going to be something I wanted to be purchasing, which is unusual for me because I buy everything Beatles. And that's something that I'm not going to be having. I don't think, because I'm not interested in it. It doesn't sound good to me. It doesn't sound right. I don't mind if you did a better job of blending and making a stereo thing, but you've got to fill it in. It's got to sound still like a Beatles track, and it really doesn't sound great. Okay, let's get back to the chat now. Those are my Beatles takes everybody wanted to know, and there you go. Well, I don't know if everybody wanted to know. Maybe nobody wanted to know. JTB will need to give us an impression after he gets his winnings. Congrats to all the winners from the last episode. Yeah, congrats, everybody. I'm glad I could do it. JTB, I showed you what you won. JTB doesn't actually watch the channel, just tunes in for the happy hour. Thanks, JTB. Watch the damn video. Kidding. Okay. Kevin Jock says he wanted to give a shout out to Trevor from Norne Cables. Oh, Trevor is so great. He's had one of the best experiences he's ever had in the hobby this week. Can't speak highly enough of Norne. Yeah. Here's my Norne. Sorry, boys, didn't mean to flash in my rear. This is my Norne cable, and I am selling my Expanse, my Dan Clark Audio Expanse. And I'm more excited about this cable, and I'm more horrified that I have to give up this cable that matches the headphone perfectly. And it's this beautiful braided number from Norne that, frankly, Trevor just knocked it out of the park on. And I'm more upset about losing the cable than I am the headphone. But I need somebody to buy the headphone. $3,200 I have it sold for. That's everybody else got them higher than that. So I'm like $3,200 and you get this cable included. If anybody's interested, go buy my Expanse. And I went back and I listened to them again in the last couple of weeks. I spent some time with them again, and I'm going to listen to them on something. Well, I can't talk about it because it's in the next episode. Guys, the next episode, if you missed the top of the show, next episode involves the Susvara. JTB, next episode involves the Susvara. And it's going to be worth tuning into. It's a blind what's in the box from Audio 46, and let's just say they topped even themselves this time. And it's amazing. I keep Yoko away from any recordings. Oh my Lord. There is, if you go on YouTube, not now because we're on the air. Oh, where'd my light go? I don't have a light. I have an uplight. That's part of the problem. Jeez, you're not seeing the full Speed Racerness because my light wasn't on. Go on YouTube and do a search for Frank Zappa, John Lennon. And there's a gig that Zappa invited Yoko and John, actually invited John to come down and play on. And it's as if Yoko is wrecking the entire jam session. I'm like, you've got... It is damn interesting. And let's just say Frank did not appreciate the vocal stylings of Yoko over his well-crafted, pithy and ironic, music that he is known for. He was not a fan of Yoko and what she did in the concert. Watch the video. It's like your jaw will be on the ground. Like, is she going to stop? No, she's not going to stop. She keeps, like, what is going on? John, you can't go over to her and say, Yoko, maybe take that down about 3. Go watch the video. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's like, it's a train wreck on stage. Unbelievable. You have Ace of Spades has 2 Norne cables, and they're fantastic. I have several. I have another one I bought, I think, for a Focal product. These are all headphones that I'm getting rid of or don't have anymore. I need to get, I want to get some ones that I can actually use from Norne on a regular basis. But I do have, I do have that Kimber Axios. That's a, you know, killer, unbelievable cable. It's a 16 weave, phenomenal. Yeah, so that's good. But Norne, I love Norne cables and their customer service there. I think there was one time that they didn't deliver something for me. You know, like either the order got lost or something, and the guy went over backwards to make it right. The guy, like, he upgraded Trevor. He upgraded everything, just like blew it out of the park and sent me this amazing, crazy cable, and then rushed it through to make sure I got it right away. When I asked him, "Hey, whatever happened to that cable I ordered?" He went, "Oh my God!" Really cool guys, really cool guy over there, and I think it's one guy. I don't know that it's like a whole thing, but if it is, whoever it is over there, I don't know their you know, the company that well. I just know that I've appreciated their cable and the value in these cables. Oh, the value of these cables. I mean, you're talking hundreds where other people are charging thousands. There is tremendous value in this Norne stuff. It's really good, and I have no affiliation with Norne. I get nothing out of it. I just happen to like the products. It's like Noble. I'm a huge fan of Noble, and other than he gave me a price break on something I bought, I absolutely just love the company. I just think they make great stuff. They make phenomenal stuff. But this is something I paid absolute full price for. All of my wireless I paid full price for. I bought my Sultan. I bought that. I paid market for that because I bought it used. But yeah, it's the Noble stuff is just, I just freaking love that company. And Norne is another one. I just love the company. ZMF, love the company. Love like the people there. I like the way they build stuff. I like the quality. It's all there. It's like, why, you know. Audeze too. Audeze, good folks down there. Like, they invited me in and showed me around and let me try out their stuff. Like, it was just like, and they do it for anybody who's an enthusiast, I think. I don't think that's because I have a YouTube show with a few thousand subscribers. And back then I only had like 2,000 subscribers. So, yeah, I was nobody. And they just like, come on down. Yeah, check it out. I had bought my Carbon from them, and I bought the LCD5. Still have the Carbon. The LCD5 went in a trade. That brought me the X9000. Phenomenal. Talk about your phenomenal electrostatics. Holy gosh. Adnan says, on the contrary, he watches Happy Hour 2 days later. Sorry I missed the last one. How is everyone? Adnan, we're getting through the week. We're down to the end of it. I shot the next episode, and I have got a stack. Guys, there is a stack of gear back there to get through, boxes to open and review stuff. Everybody just came through at once, and I've got tons of stuff. So there's going to be an IEM episode coming up. There's going to be, I've got a big headphone next, an exciting headphone that I don't know much about it. This will make sense in the next episode, but after this next episode. Next episode is blind. What's in the box? I can tell you it involves the Susvara, and Audio 46 sent us something that I think it's their like craziest thing they've ever sent us. I'm not sure, but Rodrigo over there, my problem is I don't have good retention, guys. So somebody will send me like a note and say, hey, we dropped something in the mail and blah, 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 blah. And that sometimes they even mention, hey, I'm sending you a blah, blah, blah. I'm sending you an amp. I'm sending you a headphone. I'm sending you and I just don't remember any of it. So it's like, it really is, when I open the box, I have no clue what it is. And then I open it and I'm like, holy crap, these guys just like really sent something crazy to me. I'm like, whoa. So really excited, and that episode is shot. I just have to make it a little tighter because it's sitting over 25 minutes or so. Yeah, props to Audio 46. And if you're new here, and there's not many new people here today, we got 25 or so, 22 right now. But if you're new here, Audio 46 is a partner in crime. And if you go over to the Audio 46 website and you want to go buy something, you can save 5% on most of the gear they carry by using the coupon code directorsgarage, all one word. You put that in at checkout, and most of the gear that they have, there's a couple brands that won't work with because they don't work with them on pricing at all. Campfire Audio and Grado will not discount for some reason. They just don't work with them on pricing, so that it won't work for. But everything else, you for the most part, you can get a discount on it, which is totally cool. And the other thing is that you're helping out the show because I get a little moolah on the back end of the deal. It's like a 2% or something like that. But $70,000 worth of sales. I don't know if you guys knew that. Y'all have gone over there and spent $70,000 at Audio 46. When they came to me 3 years ago, they said, you know, we'll send some stuff your way. It's never amounted to much, though, when we've done stuff like this. Like, we've never had a good experience with YouTube. And y'all went out there and just started spending money like crazy at Audio 46. And they went, whoa! You know. And that's super exciting because they're a local business out of New York. They're not a superstore. They're a superstore in that they have all this crazy great gear, but they have, you know, they're people like us. They're enthusiasts who opened a shop in New York, downtown New York, and they made it through the pandemic. And they're just great guys. You know, like I've called there and just have a discussion, you know, of like, what do you like? What is this? What do you think of this? Hey, have you heard this? Like, they're super enthusiasts just like us. They're a bunch of fans, you know. And Rodrigo from Audio 46 will often come into the live stream and hang out with us. Just to let you know, I mean, like, that's why they're another one of these companies. Like, they're so good, and like, if you can support them, I ask you to, because they're really good folks and they're a local business out of New York. And it's like, man, if with all the crap that New York has been in for the last 20 years, it's like, give the guys a break if you can. If you're going to go buy something new, if you're going to buy used, then don't worry about it. Oki Miku recently sold his 1266 TCs to try out the X9000. He's hoping honestly just end up with both in a few years, since he loves the 1266s for what it does. He can't wait to hear the stacks, though. Yeah, well, you're going to be in for a rude bass awakening. If the bass was what really got you on the 1266s, the bass is better on the 1266. One of the best bass response electrostatics, but it's not by any means a 1266 in terms of impact and slam. The carbon is closer to the 1266 in slam than the X9000, but it's probably the most detailed headphone maybe ever, maybe even more than some of these other, you know, crazy Aperio and, you know, things like that. Although I haven't heard the Aperio, but I've heard the HE1, and I think that it's more detailed than the HE1. The HE1 is smoother and puts together a better overall tonal, like, you know, the overall thing. That's better on the HE1. But as far as like technicals, it's probably the best technical headphone I've ever heard. For pure technicals, it doesn't mean that's the only thing I'll ever listen to. God, no. Revival, boys. Revival. Coming your way. Soon. Oh, I love cryptic stuff. Next week, though. Next week. It's coming next week. Happy Friday. Any thoughts on the Mod House Audio Tungsten headphones? Well, Ryan Dietz chimed in earlier and said, hey, I don't know if he's still here or not, but we've been in discussion, and I have not heard the Modhouse Tungsten, and I want to hear the Modhouse Tungsten desperately. I would love to do a full review of those, and there are conversations being had to maybe get us there. That's what I can tell you. But will it happen tomorrow? No, but it will happen, I think, at some point. I just can't afford to buy everything, and especially now that I'm in the new place, I'm washing the car by hand, boys. None of that, you know, fancy car wash stuff you pull up and drop your car off. No, it's me out front with a sprayer, you know, doing the car. Got to save the money anywhere we can these days for headphones. Hipster Cow says the Modhouse Tungsten is his favorite or second favorite planar. Sounds like the LCD4 with the mid-range of the LCD5. That's high praise. That's high praise. I love the LCD4, as you know. It's not technically as proficient as the LCD5 or any of these other headphones we've talked about. But it is, to my ears, one of my favorite headphones. I just love the overall shape of it, and it's amazing. Yeah, as I sit here looking at the Susvara. Boys, it's coming. Hipster Cow, they are absolutely harder to drive than the Susvara. Oh my. JTB says they're harder to drive than the Susvara. Hipster Cow says absolutely harder to drive than the Susvara. He doesn't think anything at CanJam SoCal was able to properly power them outside maybe the 23R. Interesting. Hipster Cow. Good take. I love that, man. Cheers to Hipster Cow, man. Raise a glass. Oki says he's heard the same in comparison to the HE1 from a friend. Yeah. And I've heard the HE1. I haven't heard the HE1 recently. I heard the HE1 when it first went on tour. And I heard it at a CanJam in LA back when they had it downtown before they moved it to Orange County. Or relocated it to Orange County. So yeah, I wish they would bring it back to LA, by the way, at CanJam, because it's much easier for me. I can spend more time there, but as long as it's in Orange County, it's kind of a pain in the butt. But I did hear the HE1 there years ago, and I was very impressed. I mean, frankly, I thought that Sennheiser did an amazing job on that headphone, and I was blown away by it. And so very impressive. Let me just check my messages real quick, make sure nobody's been trying to. No, I'm good. Mrs. Director has not been trying to page the home office. Thank goodness. Okay. We're on the air an hour. I'll probably go another half hour or so, guys. If we get the chat keeps going. If it doesn't, I'm out of here. Gonna get my weekend started, and then I got to read all the instructions for what I can and can't eat this weekend. Oh, it's gonna suck. Colonoscopy Monday for those of you turning in late. They're finally gonna shut me up for an hour or two by knocking me out and shoving a tube up me. Have you heard the LCD-R? No. Interesting pair when it comes to what bass can do. Not as quite as 1266 level, but very fun. Yeah, the LCD4 is the you know, and the regular 4, the original 4. That's my bass. That's one of my bass go-tos, along with the 1266 TC. Level 42 man hasn't listened to a Susvara in at least 6 months. He's going to hook them up again after this evening's chat. Level 42 man, what amp are you using to drive your Susvara? I am very curious. What do you know? If you can chime in on that, I would like to know. David Nexus, would it be worth upgrading the LCD to the LCD4Z from the LCD-X? The use case is music production and mixing. No. No, I would not use the. It would be more. It would be a better upgrade to go from the LCD-X to the LCD-5 if you're going to be mixing. Otherwise, I would just keep the X. The X is going to be better. The 4Z, even though it's not as robust, I don't feel in the basal area, the booty. It's still it's a bass slanted headphone, so you don't want to mix with that. That would be a mistake. Arthur Haywood says he's really considering getting the Headamp CFA3. If he does, it'll be in conjunction with the tungsten. What's the CFA3? Let me go to Headamp and look at it, if I can find it. Hold on, fellas. CFA3. The Grand Cayman was the one I really wanted to listen to at. Here it is. I'll show it to you in a second. I'm just gonna make it. Yeah. Okay. No, I'm not gonna give you your discount code. Headamp has no deal with me either. Okay. Oops, that's my wrong button. Wrong button. Okay. This is the Headamp CFA3, and accepting pre-orders. Oh, it only costs $200, boys. Put your $200 down and get this nice amp. Looks big for $200. I'm cruel. I know I'm cruel. Wow, it looks like a Whopper. It's got a bunch of outputs on it. It's got to drive those outputs somehow. And it seems to glow underneath. What's with the glow? Is that an effect, or is that how it actually does? That looks nice. What? Let's see. Is there any more info on it? Same size as the Mark II stack. It brings the best sound. Okay. Well, that's good to know. It's got the best sound. Okay. Let's see what's the wattage on this thing. How much into 8 ohms? 15 watts into 50 ohms. That's going to be about 10 watts, and that's going to be about 8 watts into 8 ohms, I think. I had to do the math. I don't have a calculator right with me, but I'm guessing that it's going to be under 10 watts. Well, they're saying it's super powerful, but what is it? You got to hear it. You know, that's a headphone, like, just based on the specs. I'd want to hear that thing. I'd want to hear that thing. Tube input devices. Is that a tube? It's got a tube pre on it? What is it talking about? Tube. It's the problem with me looking at a thing for the first time on the air. Is that I don't know what it is. So I'm kind of like just trying to read real fast and give you some information. Well, go to headamp.com and check this out if you're interested. But it looks like it's 10 watts into, you know, it's going to be around 8 to 10 watts into 8 ohms, which is, it's good, but it's like along the lines of what Woo will give you. A good Woo will give you, Woo audio amp. Interesting. Interesting. But that doesn't always tell the story either. There are 8-watt amps with massive capacitors that are able to deliver such a great punch that they actually sound more powerful than they actually are, because they've got these massive capacitors that are in there and ready to deliver power on demand. So just because it says it delivers this doesn't mean that that's actually all it's capable of. You know what I'm saying? Okay, thanks for the answer. That's what. Okay, that's David Nexus. David Nexus, cheers. I didn't do that for you. If you're new around here, Oki will do a cheers to you too. I don't recognize your name as a regular. Maybe you stopped by once or twice before, but we cheers everybody who's new as a way of welcoming. Anthony Berriman, have you noticed that Can Jam Chicago and Dallas have disappeared from the 2024 schedule, and they now have a Can Jam in Shanghai? Yes, Anthony. What they're doing is they're cutting the Chicago and Dallas shows because they're the least attended, and they're going to expand the L.A. and New York shows to give them a third day. So it's going to be a 3-day show in New York and LA now because they're so well attended. They feel that they can get better bang for their buck by doubling down or 1/3ing down on the successful Can Jams, the ones that give them the numbers they want. So that's the reasoning behind it. I don't know. It's not to be an editor. I'm not going to editorialize on it. Can Jam can do whatever Can Jam wants. I'm grateful that there's one in LA because that's where I live. If I was still in Chicago, I'd be pissed. But I get it. You know, they've got to maximize. Look, this is a business for them. This is they got to stay. You know, they got to make a profit because there's guys over there who are getting paid just for working at Can Jam. I don't do this for a living, so I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. I like to make money on the channel, but somehow we never do. Because they're giving away headphones, so they're, you know, $400 headphones in one fell swoop. Kevin says Goldwerger has done a very thorough review of the tungsten, and there are quite a few options for amplification without spending a fortune. He breaks down really good synergies. Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. Very cool. Level 42 man, he has an amp that was made for them. This is going back to the Susvara. He has an amp which was made for them by Robson Acoustics. Also, his RAL HSA-1B on the ribbon socket switched to headphone mode is pretty powerful. Plus, he has a Macintosh MHA-150. Oh, yeah. I've always been curious because I do have this massive Krell 100-watt amp here. But I'm afraid of frying out my Susvara, and I can't afford to fry them out. So I have to stick with headphone stuff, headphone amps. Adnan says he's sure they'll wind up charging around $5,000 for that CFA3. Yeah, that would make sense to me. Headamp makes good stuff, though. So there's that. You know? Very cool. Very cool. And who makes... What is the amplifiers that they do? They do the Blue Hawaii there, and then they do the GSX Mini and the GSX Mark II. Those are their main amps. And now they've added a new... and now they're adding a new electrostatic amp called the something. What's it called? The new one. I just said it 2 minutes ago. I'm starting to space out, boys. It's getting late in the day. Amplifiers. What's the new one? I went there to see it, and they didn't have it there. It's not. Why isn't it on their electrostatic page? Come on. Oh, there it is. The Grand Cayman. The Grand Cayman. Yeah, the Grand Cayman, they've... let's take a look at that real quick. Because I can. Auto. Boop. This is the Grand Cayman. And I went to Can Jam specifically to hear the Grand Cayman, and no, I didn't go to CanJam, but I did go there. One of the things I wanted to hear was this Grand Cayman. It's going to be about a $10,000 amp, I think, out the door. There's some specs on it. I don't know if this is the final case, though. I think it's been redesigned. But I wanted to hear that, and they didn't have it. Went there. I was so mad. I wasn't mad, but it was like, you know, I wanted to hear it. Yeah, very cool. Very cool. That's a replacement for, eventually anyway, for the Blue Hawaii, I would think. They may keep making the Blue Hawaii on as per order, but yeah. But who did the Studio 6? What was the company that did the Studio 6? Because that was a great amp, and I'm trying to remember it wasn't head amp, it was shoot. Who did the Studio 6? Can I Google that real quick? Anybody remember what that was? Do you remember the Studio 6? Hey, there you go. Who did that? Oh, it's not here. ALO Audio did the Studio 6. I haven't heard from them in a long time. That was amazing. Let's take a look what's going on over at ALO Audio. Oh, they've got some new stuff. Let's take a look at that. We're just doing the web today, guys. Why not? Portable DAC for balance. They had some great products over at ALO. My favorite was the Studio 6 that I'd heard. But I don't know that they're making it anymore. Oh, it looks like they've closed down their productions unit. What a shame. They're just making some cables and adapters. Man, they had some phenomenal portable units over there. Oh, that's a shame, man. ALO was one of my favorite places. Their portable gear was phenomenal. And then they had maybe it's, can I find it on the search page? I'll show you the app. It was really cool. Maybe I can't. Let's see. ALO Audio. Show me images. Oh, Yahoo took over my damn thing again. Oh, I hate Yahoo. Here it is. Apologies, because I don't have a I don't have copyright for this. This is probably going to get me bounced. But this is the Studio 6. It was this amp here, and it was fantastic. I auditioned this, and it was positively amazing. Did Campfire buy ALO? Is that what happened, Adnan? If I go to Campfire, can I find this shit? Or was it always Campfire? Cables, headphones, home, shop all. Well, Campfire just doesn't have any amps at all. Well, the hell with them. We're not going to do it. Goodbye, t-shirt. Anybody want a t-shirt from... I'll order in bulk for everybody in the chat right now. So apparently... well, the question is, who owns what? Did Campfire buy ALO and then killed it? I don't know. But the Studio 6 was from ALO originally. It was under the ALO brand. And it was fantastic. One of the best sounding tube amps I've ever heard, any price. It was phenomenal. All owned by Ken Ball. See, that's good. I'm glad you guys can fill in. Like, I know music providence better than I know this... all these amp builders and stuff. So I'm glad you guys can fill me out on this stuff. JTB recently had the new shit Asgard. Did I skip anybody? Wait, let me go back. Oh boy, we got a lot of chat to catch up on. Oh, I've been terrible. I've been a terrible host. 5K for the CFA3. Yes, that on that I agree with that. Probably maybe even more. The last Rhino, Chicago was the last Tangem he could attend. Ooh, sorry, man. Good day from Malaysia, boyo. Cheers, Phalanx. Cheers, brother. Welcome to the show, Ryan Dietz. Just a heads up, head amp will be tentatively have a tungsten to demo with the CFA3 at Capitol Audio Fest. That's not going to be in LA though, so it doesn't help me, Ryan. Phalanx says looking for a new amp to upgrade from the Burson 3XP. Wondering if that new JDS EMF amp will be a good pairing with his calderas. I don't know. I haven't heard it, so I can't comment. As much as calderas do better they scale with amps, so the more money you can throw at them. I would think the Burson is a pretty damn good amp for that, though. If you're looking to upgrade, you're going to have to go up to, gosh, you'd probably get into like one of the hollow amps, or Enlium, or trying to think of what's up from there. Stuff like that. You did to go up. Burson's a really good amp, though. I'd be like, the Burson is so good, I would almost like go, well, maybe I want another headphone before I'd worry about upgrading that. You know, because the Ohr with the Ohr versus the Burson is kind of a push. I don't think I would favor one over the other. Yeah. Okay. JTB says he recently had the new shit Asgard amp. Nice amp for the price, but it didn't have this halo effect. Jason from shit says is its selling point. He's sticking with his Burson solos. Yeah, Burson is phenomenal. Yeah, definitely. Michael, ALO is the same company as Campfire. Okay, now. But they were separate before, or did they always, one guy always owned them? Was it always Ken Ball's company? I don't know. But they had, God, they had like the Can-Am. Remember the Can-Am? ALO had some phenomenal stuff. And I had one of their portable amps. But they're not making them anymore. What's going on there? I got to talk to them. I got to get the skinny. What's going on? Because they were really, really good. Sorry, somebody has a question from work. Work comes first, boys. Oh my. I have a Mariah. I'm not shooting it because of the colonoscopy thing that I got to go through on Monday. Those of you coming in late, cheers. That's what I'm doing Monday. But we're interviewing Mariah Carey on Sunday. And that was supposed to be my shoot, but I can't do it because I'm going to be drinking goo and running to the bathroom every 10 minutes. Yeah, so, but to put a button on that Phalanx quote, you're going to be hard to push past that Burson. That's a really good amp. It's a really good amp. Joshua Velour says, Arthur Haywood. Joshua Velour reviewed the Woo Audio WA-23 Luna today. He said it was plenty capable of driving the 1266. Plenty of power, $9,000 though. And that's positioned, that WA-23 is, I learned, positioned in Woo's lineup below the WA-33. They are not eclipsing that with the 23, which is interesting. If you're going to do that radical new design, you would think you would, oh, this is our latest and greatest amp. It's not. It's their mid, it's a tier lower than the WA-33. The WA-33 is still the Woo flagship currently. And I thought, wow, I thought for sure they were going to position that as, next level. ALO actually came before Campfire. That's what I thought. That's what I thought I'd done. But it's all owned by Ken Ball, huh? Okay. Campfire has audio combs you can buy. Audiophile combs you can buy. Comb filters? Because I don't have much use for a comb, boys. It's getting late in the day. I'm getting punchy. Hollow Bliss was incredible, by the way. One of his favorites. Yeah, I heard that at the ZMF. I listened to it with my Caldera. Very impressed. Very impressed with it. I was because I wanted to hear the Hollow May level 3 DAC. Because I bought, it was one of the finalists when I was doing the Lena. Alina, which, by the way, I'm so grateful I decided to go that way. It's been more and more rewarding the longer I've had it. It does exactly what I want it to do, and I'm a fan. I'm a big fan of the Lena, and I heard the amp with the Lena, and I'm like, wow, that's a mega amp. The amp is I mean, it's an $8,000, $7,000 amp, so it better be good. And people were saying, well, that's kind of the weak link in that Lena. I'm like, if that's the weak link, it's really good. That Lena stack is phenomenal, and it's $31,000 when you put it all together. But yeah. So I was listening to that Hollow stack, and I thought it was really good. I thought it was very impressive, but it did not out impress me and make me go, oh, I should have bought this instead of the DCS stack. Really crazy, still impressed with that DCS stack. Hipster Cow, the Bliss is excellent. Really enjoyed it. His friends. He tried it at a meet. Yep. Good stuff over there. Good stuff at Hollow Audio. Did you see the newsletter from Bottlehead? No. They are starting a long retirement process, but potentially interested in finding a buyer. Well, the Director's Garage Humpday Happy Hour brought to you by Bottlehead. What if I buy them with my coins I have left from buying the house? Not going to happen. Oh, it's too funny, man. Too funny. I'm going to start winding this down on a Friday afternoon. I've had some great discussion today, though. I hope you liked my takes on the 2 record reviews. Both were impressive production-wise, but neither, I think, delivered on content the way I wanted them to. I'm picky. I'm picky when it comes to music, that's for sure. But it did cause me to go back and listen to Dark Side again several times in the last couple of weeks. I've listened to it. What an album. I mean, it's... And I like the original version more than I like the remixes, like the remastering jobs that Guthrie has done and stuff. I'm like, you have yet to top that original album in my mind. Listening to all of the versions, I've got stuff on Tidal, I've got stuff in my own collection. The best version is the 96 kilohertz original mastering that they dubbed to 90s, that they did a 96 digital master of from that original master. I wouldn't, none of the remixes hit the mark for me. There was an album that they did in the mid 90s that sounded really good as far as instruments and all that, but all the transitions between the songs were completely jacked up. Whoever did it was the one that had kind of they took the Prism, the classic Prism graphic, and they kind of pixelated it. It was done like with little dots all through it, and it was one of the remasters, and it was they did a great job on the songs, but then it goes to the transitions, and it's totally just messed up the transitions between songs on the vinyl. I'm like, how can you do that on a vinyl record? It was atrocious. And I'm like, no, nope, going back to my original. Like those original pressings, they're terrific. They sound good. They sound good, boys. So, yeah, I did that. Adnan says, whatever happened to the Patreon Zoom thing? Do you still have plans? Yeah, my problem is time. You know, if I could get this channel, if the channel could grow, if we could really, if we could grow the channel to where, like, it was, like, I got, like, enough to where it was making enough money where I could actually hire somebody, like, part-time to kind of arrange all that shit. My problem is I've got such limited time. You know, this whole channel was a child of COVID. And when we came out of COVID, my schedule picked up again. And so I found it, like, harder in the last year since we, you know, got back to full steam work-wise. I found it harder to get the shows out, the basic shows out, which is why I started live streaming, because I felt bad that it was taking me now longer to get the shows out. And if I start focusing on Patreon and I start thinking about, you know, what can I, you know, how can I monetize the, you know, channel better, or you know, get to where we could all do Zooms, which I love the concept of. I think that that's like, that excites me as a concept. I love it as a concept, but I just can't think of, like, how do I make that happen with the time? You know, like, aren't I better off in my free time, rather than trying to develop Patreon? Aren't I better off getting another show out? Because the shows are what drive this thing. You know, the shows are the vehicle for the channel. It's the stuff that I do that's got the high production. It's, you know, I'll get 100 views on a live stream, maybe 200 if it was an interesting subject that I hit and the title was good. I don't even do a crazy thumbnail for this. It's just like, it just comes up. I think it comes up with the slate or something on YouTube. And the slate, and you know, those thumbnails are everything on the on YouTube. Like, that's the thumbnail, and the wording of your title is apparently the most important thing. And I'm like, I just slap something down and go. But I get like a couple hundred views. I get a couple of thousand views on the big episodes, the stuff that I pre-record. So they've got to have that's where the money comes in from this. And it's, I mean, guys, I kind of got to, you know, manage your expectation. I said the money comes in. I'm talking about $50 a month on a good month. Like, all of that work, I'm putting 3 days effort for $50. Like, the return on investment, I'm making less than minimum wage on this show. You know, I am your resident idiot. You know, like I'm 40 or 50 bucks, and I put hours and hours into doing this channel. So it's like, you know, return on investment is minimal. I'm doing this for the fun of it, which was funny because, you know, when I do have my, you know, closet full of haters that, you know, no matter what I put up, do you believe somebody disliked the giveaway video? I'm giving shit away for free. And there's somebody like went and disliked it. I'm like, boy, if that doesn't say more about you than it does about me. I'm giving you free crap. Anyway, JTB, make sure you email me so I can send you your nobles, and then if you're still out there, the Yokos, I'm gonna get over to DHL and see if I can't find a cheaper rate from them if I go there in person. So those two are out. Nobody has claimed any of these others. And it's funny, I had like a couple hundred entries. Nobody has claimed any of the others. So hopefully somebody will be, somebody will watch the winter episode and get back in touch. My policy for this is anything that doesn't go in the giveaway goes into the next giveaway. I'm not going to do another, you know, drawing or whatever. It's just, I'll just roll it over into the next giveaway. That's what I've been doing all along. So I won't change that policy for this. But so thanks everybody for coming out. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't. I never ask y'all to, but why not? I'll ask you to today. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you want, or don't. New episode next week. It involves the Susvara heavily. It's going to be heavily featured, and it's a what's in the box, a blind what's in the box. I have the next 4 episodes. I've got the products already in-house. It's going to be a long time before we get to reviews because I got to get these unboxings done. And this next unboxing was so out of left field, crazy great, that it's turned into a much bigger episode than I figured, and I'm still going to have to do a review of the product. That's how awesome this is. So I can't wait for you guys to see the next episode. Have a great weekend, everybody. Cheers to all of you out there. And yeah, I'm going to see you guys before you know it. And yeah, let's leave it there for once. Got to get off the air.